Hey there. So, we're going to talk a little bit about food sensitivities, what that means, the 3 steps about figuring out what your food sensitivities are, and then also the other steps of identify, rectify, and diversify. So, here are the 3 of us, doctors at Rooted Naturopathic Clinic. Carrie, Katie, and Whitney, and this is Whitney. I am talking to you right now. So welcome. All right, so what's your biggest food sensitivity question you have that you would want answered today? The thing that's driving you mad about what, is a symptom of what I'm having to do with, what I'm eating. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself, like mother, like daughter. So that's me and my 2 girls. And I grew up with food sensitivities, but I had no idea. It didn't occur to me that my irritable bowel syndrome was actually abnormal, right? It wasn't the worst case you've ever heard of, but I'd have sore stomachs and I'd have to go to the bathroom pretty quickly. And it wasn't until I became a naturopathic doctor that I figured out that, wow, actually, this is not normal. My mom, after we figured out what foods were my problem, she's like, I'm so sorry I kept feeding you all that pasta all that time. And I'm like, well, I loved it, so I asked for it. And then, like mother, like daughter. So my daughter, my oldest daughter there, she has eczema. And we had to really dig down to figure out what foods were causing her eczema and causing her skin to break out. And she also had really loose stools, really mushy poops when she was a toddler. It was not fun changing her diapers. So, it runs in the family for sure, but we know a lot about food sensitivities and we see a lot of it at our clinic. And all of us have had to deal with it in some way, shape, or another. And we've treated lots of patients with food sensitivities and all the things that can be caused by those foods. But my light bulb moment was, why are people suffering? Why do we have to suffer with the things, with our conditions, with our health issues, when we could figure out what's actually going on and then make a choice? So if you know that gluten, for instance, gives you a stomach ache, you can decide to have that birthday cake or not, and then you'll know, right? But if you have no idea, you're going through your life going, I don't know what's causing all my issues, then that's no fun. That's not a fun way to live. It's our mission to help you achieve long-lasting health and wellness. We don't want to just give you Band-Aid options. We don't want to just give you a Tums or something to help you digest your food. Let's heal that gut. Let's figure out what's going on. So, did you know that over 170 foods have been identified as allergenic? Now, we're talking about a true allergy. So, if you've got a peanut allergy kid, or the shellfish with their throat closes up if they have any shellfish, that's an allergy. These are the top allergies that we're looking at right now. So shellfish at the top there, we've got our gluten, our wheats in the middle top, then you've got your peanuts, and then down at your left corner is soy, so different soy products, soybeans, soy milk, soy sauce, tofu, and then you've got your tree nuts, and then milk, dairy, that's a really common one, and then eggs. So we're talking about food sensitivities right now, and these are actually common food sensitivities as well. Did you know 11% of all people around the world have irritable bowel syndrome? That's IBS. 11%. So if there's 10 of you and waiting in line at your favorite fast food joint, one of you has irritable bowel syndrome. But probably more of you who are actually watching this video because you actually care about foods and want to figure it out. So what can foods cause? Bloating, migraines, irritable bowel syndrome, cough. So I put cough in there. Do you ever know someone who is clearing their throat all the time or a chronic cough? They can have extra mucus due to a food causing them irritation and inflammation. Eczema, psoriasis, joint pain, fibromyalgia, for instance, as well, and heartburn. These are all things that could be worsened by food or caused by food. So what foods do you think you're sensitive to? You just think about that right now. So there are 3 steps. First, identify, then rectify, then diversify. So we're going to talk about each of those steps. Identify is let's figure out what foods are causing the issue. Rectify, let's rectify. Let's fix your gut. Let's fix that tube, your digestive tract. And then diversify. So after you've fixed and healed your gut, what kind of a diversified diet is good to eat after that? So what are our steps? First step is a diet diary. We love it when people do a 7-day diet diary prior to coming to see us, or even just a 3-day. It gives us a snapshot of what's going on in your world and what you're eating. It's also a really good tool for you to kind of take a step back and look at patterns of what you eat, as well as how it plays in with your bowel movements, migraines, or any other symptoms that you might be having. It really just gives that full snapshot of what's going on, and it might help give you clues if you start to notice patterns. It's a really nice way, a really simple way of starting. And then there's the elimination diet. So we do that, and we explain how to do that at the office. Essentially, it's eliminating the most common allergenic foods for a period of time, allowing your body to heal, and then reintroducing them one by one to see how your body reacts. Now, when we work with patients at the clinic, we give them all the tools that they need to be successful. So we give an 8-page document about these are the foods to avoid, these are the ones to eat, this is how you reintroduce, and here's a whole bunch of recipes so you are going to be successful. Now, not everyone can do the elimination diet. Either they just don't have great willpower, they don't have a lot of time, or they have, they don't cook for themselves, which, this is a great opportunity to learn to cook for yourself. I've had some patients that were like, wow, actually I enjoy cooking now because the elimination diet encouraged that. But for some reason, people can't do the elimination diet, or they do it, and then we want to find hidden foods. Or sometimes we do both. We do an elimination diet or a food sensitivity test. Now, the food sensitivity test is looking for the allergy components, the IgG, which is a slow reacting component of your immune system. So your immune system creates a little army against foods. Now, if your body is creating a huge army against certain foods, that'll show up in that food sensitivity test. Now, here's an example of a snapshot of my daughter's test, actually. So our typical test tests for about 120 different foods and your body's immune system reaction to those foods. Now, this is different than your skin scratch allergy test that you would do with your allergist. Again, the skin scratch test is for fast allergies. We're looking at sensitivities, and that's slow reactions. So slow reactions could be anywhere between a couple hours, 30 minutes to a couple hours after you ingest a food to a few days. Now here we get back a report. Now it's a blood test, so you sent to the lab to give your blood sample, and then the lab sends that to another lab and they do this testing. And then you get this pretty chart back later of 120 different foods and numbers and colors. So red foods are, like green light, yellow light, red light. Red light foods. So my daughter should not be having a lot of sheep's milk. That is an interesting one. Oats or couscous, gliadin, so gluten. And she was eating a lot of rice products because she was on a gluten-free diet. So rice popped up there. So this can be really helpful at pinpointing hidden foods that your body is just not liking anymore. So there's lots of ways of doing it. So the first step is identifying. We could be the tortoise or the hare, and either works. So the tortoise, the slower way of doing it is an elimination diet, but that is a good tried true way of doing it because you are your own petri dish. Your body shows exactly what's going on and exactly how it reacts to a food. So that's our tortoise. And the hare, that's the blood allergy, the food allergy test. Now, the only con of doing the food allergy test, or one of the cons, is the cost. It's about a $250 test, but sometimes your benefits may cover that. So that's worth looking into. But some people really find that the cost, the benefits outweigh the cost of doing the test. So there's a few ways of identifying our foods. And then we want to rectify. Picture your digestive tract like a fence. So if it's a fence from your mouth all the way down out your bum, and that fence should have tight junctions, and the fence should be, should not allow animals to get through. But what can happen with over time and with foods that your body doesn't like, that can damage your fence or your digestive tract. And when that damages it, sometimes that's called leaky gut syndrome, where bigger food particles get through those holes in your fence or in your gut, and your body does not know how to deal with it. It's like, what the heck is this? So what we do is during the rectify stage, it's let's heal the gut. Let's give your body the tools it needs, so herbs, supplement, nutrients, so your body can heal that tube while we've eliminated the foods to give it a chance to heal. And then the third step is the diversify. So after you've eliminated your foods, it really depends on your situation of when you can introduce that food, how you introduce it, and how often you can have it afterwards. But what we recommend for everyone is a diversified diet, a rotation diet, that you're eating a wide variety of foods in your diet. If you can eat grains and you eat grains, then there are more than just two. There's more than just wheat and oatmeal. Like, you could have lots of different grains for breakfast, for instance. You could have rye flakes as a porridge. You could have quinoa. You could have morning rice. There are lots of things. Make a barley breakfast cereal. So there are lots of other grains for you to try. So that's what we really recommend for everyone, is to have a diversified diet. So you've got a wide variety of fruits, a wide variety of vegetables, because we can really fall back on our tried and true favorites, but our body does best when we offer it all the grand selection of vitamins and nutrients and minerals. So the food test quest. So what way do you want to do it? What way do you want to figure out how to figure out what your food sensitivities are? We're here to help. We offer a 15-minute meet the doctor appointment. So you're here because maybe you have headaches. Maybe your child has chronic ear infections. Maybe you've got irritable bowel syndrome. All of these reasons could be, due to food sensitivities. So we at Rooted, we offer that free Meet the Doctor so you can see if we're a good fit for you and vice versa. And then we can discuss possibly doing the food sensitivity testing, because it's a really awesome tool that we love to help patients with. So please let us know if you have any questions. We're here to help.